The research vessel narration. It began aboard the research vessel Erebus, a state-of-the-art ship cutting through the dark waters of the Pacific. The crew, an elite team of marine biologists, engineers, and deep-sea explorers, was there to study the unexplored depths of the Mariana Trench. For weeks they had been mapping the ocean floor, gathering data on the abyssal zone, and witnessing strange life forms few had ever seen. Yet, a peculiar tension hung in the air. The sea, vast and unknowable, seemed to watch them. The captain of the Erebus, an old mariner named Garvey, warned the crew against venturing too far. "The trench is alive," he said one night over dinner, his voice low and gravelly. "It's got a mind of its own. I've seen ships swallowed whole." His words were met with nervous laughter, but no one dared to challenge him outright. The descent narration. The following morning, the submersible Horizon was readied for its descent. Dr. Ellis, a brilliant but reclusive marine biologist, was at its helm. The vessel was equipped with advanced sonar and high-powered lights, capable of piercing the perpetual darkness of the deep sea. As it descended, the crew aboard the Erebus monitored its progress, their eyes glued to the screens displaying live feeds from the submersible's cameras. At 5,000 meters, the submersible encountered its first anomaly, a field of skeletal remains scattered across the seabed, whale bones, giant fish, and unidentifiable creatures, all picked clean. "Something big must have done this," Ellis murmured, her voice tinged with unease. By the time they reached 9,000 meters, the sonar began picking up an unusual signal, a slow, rhythmic pulse. It was unlike anything they had encountered before. "It's almost like a heartbeat," Ellis said, her voice trembling. Suddenly the lights of the sub flickered, casting eerie shadows that seemed to move on their own. The encounter narration. At 10,000 meters, the cameras captured it. A massive, obsidian-black creature, its body covered in bioluminescent patterns that pulsed like veins, its eyes glowing yellow, stared directly at the submersible. It was motionless at first, as though observing them. Then with terrifying speed, it moved, circling the sub like a predator toying with its prey. Ellis tried to ascend, but the creature rammed the submersible, sending it spiraling. The live feed on the Erebus went dark, replaced by static. The last sound the crew heard was a chilling, guttural roar, followed by Ellis's scream. Story 2. The Shipwreck. Narration. Fishermen called it Devil's Reef, a jagged cluster of rocks rising from the sea, like skeletal fingers. Ships that ventured too close often met a grim fate, their wreckage scattered along the reef. Marcus Kane, a seasoned treasure hunter, saw opportunity where others saw doom. With a crew of 5 and a sturdy boat, he set out to uncover the secrets of the reef. As they approached, the air grew heavy, and the waves turned eerily calm. The wreck of an ancient galleon loomed ahead, its charred hull jutting from the water like a ghostly monument. "That's our mark," Kane said, his eyes gleaming with greed. His crew exchanged uneasy glances but obeyed his command. The Discovery narration. Inside the wreck, Kane's flashlight revealed the remnants of a bygone era. Rusted cannons, rotting crates, and bones, so many bones. In the captain's quarters, he found a chest encrusted with barnacles. Forcing it open, he revealed a treasure trove of gold coins and a silver idol shaped like a screaming face. The moment he touched the idol, the temperature seemed to drop. A whisper echoed through the cabin, faint but unmistakable. As Kane pocketed the idol, the whispers grew louder, transforming into agonized screams. Above deck, his crew heard the commotion and rushed to him, only to find him clutching the idol, his eyes wide with terror. The haunting narration. That night, the idol disappeared, but the whispers persisted. Crew members began seeing figures in the water, shadows that moved against the current. One by one, they vanished, dragged screaming into the depths by unseen hands. Kane was the last to go, his final moments captured in the ship's log. The idol, it's alive. Forgive me. The isolated lighthouse. Narration. The lighthouse at Blackthorn Rock had stood for over a century, its beam a beacon of safety for sailors braving the treacherous waters. But for keeper William Hargrove, it was a prison. Alone for months at a time, he kept the light burning, knowing it was the only thing standing between the world and the horrors of the deep. Hargrove's journal told of his growing unease. He wrote of strange noises at night, soft tapping at the windows, faint whispers carried by the wind. He dismissed them as tricks of the mind, but the feeling of being watched never left him. The strange visitors. Narration. One stormy night, there was a knock at the door. Peering through the peephole, Hargrove saw a group of people standing in the rain. Their faces were pale, their eyes black as coal. They spoke in unison, their voices echoing unnaturally. "Let us in," they pleaded. Hargrove refused, but the knocking continued for hours. When dawn broke, the visitors were gone, but the door was covered in deep scratches, as though clawed by something inhuman. The final entry narration. Hargrove's final journal entry read, "They're in the water, watching, waiting. The light keeps them at bay. If it fails, I'll join the others." Days later, the Coast Guard arrived to find the light extinguished, the keeper missing, and claw marks gouged deep into the door. The lighthouse has stood abandoned ever since, its light never rekindled.